now.
All
I'm
right. So go on your second device,
Mhm.
refresh where you have it on Twitch.
Okay.
You will see live, and then you're going to open that window. Live, and then you're going to open that window. There
I
you
just made
go. And you just
yes.
mute that. And then now it's the only thing is going to be 10-second delay. But
Okay.
now you get to see on your second monitor, you get to see me through the camera, and then you get to see on on the other one where now on the other screen where you can see the clips and all that. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
This is like the mini control room, a one-man control room.
Cool.
Okay, it's so interesting. And let's do this. It is 1 p.m. All right, on a Sunday. It's the fifth episode of Let's Meet on Twitch, and I haven't gotten a some kind of a like one of those slogans for Let's Meet on Twitch, but I will say for we talk about art stuff and nerdy stuff and more. Okay, so we just getting started, and I have here I think one of the most talented guests here. It is Lee Grado. Hello, Lee.
Hi, Dean. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be on your podcast.
Thank you for coming. I thank you for taking the time here. So tell our audiences about yourself.
Well, my name's Lee Grado. I am a podcaster. I'm also a certified dance instructor. I'm also a filmmaker and a writer.
And we're gonna actually share some clips later on 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 those indie films. And we actually have something to share. I think it was 25 years ago, which we'll talk about a little bit.
Yes, definitely. Something very.
And yes, I'm very excited for that. And also, I want to congratulate you on your on surpassing 200 episodes of State of the Arts.
Thank you so much.
Yes, which we'll get into as well.
Yes.
All right, so second screen, take a look. So you'll see that's you over there. I actually like the dance pose, and there's actually more dance poses.
Yes. Let's start. Just a blooper.
It's okay, it's okay. So what were you doing in this? What kind of dance is this? I know these are just poses.
Yeah, there poses. I was doing a photo shoot for some promotional pictures, and yeah, what one of them is a tango pose. So the outfit where I'm wearing, where I have a red sparkly top with a black skirt. I'm doing an Argentine tango pose. The other one's sort of like Broadway showgirl dancing.
Oh
The
wow,
other
it's
two
like
pictures are more,
model. Like
yeah.
model pose.
Well,
I love
dancers
it.
are models too, so
Yes.
because they have to pose for promotional pictures a
Oh
lot.
yes. Oh yes. So we're gonna get to the beginning. So how did you get into the arts in general?
Well, my father was a ballroom dancer and a writer himself, and my mother is a pianist, and I think I followed in my father's footsteps. He introduced me to writing and to dancing, and I just fell in love with those two art forms.
Oh
That's how
wow.
I was introduced to the arts, actually through both my parents. My mom made sure I learned about classical music, not just playing it, but also listening to it. But I never really took to the piano, although I do appreciate listening to piano music.
So do
I,
I.
and I gravitated more towards the dancing and the writing. So
Eh,
that's where I'm at.
Hey, that's still talent. That's the I that's still good. And dancing is really good for the soul too.
Oh yes, it's expression of the human spirit, of the human emotions.
I've done my dancing myself. I will say I used to play the piano. It was in 1998 until 2001. I stopped because I was going through a lot. I was busy and overwhelmed. I had regular class, I had private tutoring, I had Sunday school for Catholics, and then I had piano. I was like, wow, oh my goodness. For a 10-year-old to 13-year-old, it was a lot to handle. But I'm able to read it. It's just playing, it's just like, I can do one hand at a time. But we're actually going to talk about your husband just a teeny bit later too, because I know he plays a piano
Yes, he does.
and a
And
few other instruments,
yes.
and you'll hear some of the music on his clips. Actually, it will be on Joe Grado's YouTube channel. We'll play the two clips a little bit later, so I'm so excited about that.
Yes, we are a creative team.
Yes. So yeah, Wonder Twin powers activate. I'm just kidding. It's not twins. Like Wonder couple powers activate.
A lot of people call us the power couple, which it's very flattering. We appreciate.
Power couple of the arts. And he's also your frequent guest too.
Yes. He's been on my podcast several times. My mom has also,
Yes.
and
And
I've had three cousins on my podcast as well.
actually did not see that. I saw your husband, Colo, Josh was a guest twice, and Bradley.
Yes. Hmm.
And Bradley was actually more interesting. He's chock full of he's a wealth of information. I was like, wow. So, but we'll get into that. Okay, so we'll get into the podcast part. So, how often do you do the dance instructing? Do you? I know there was a studio we went. I think we passed by. So, how often do you do the dance instructing?
Well, that studio is where my mentor is, Mende Kirk.
Hmm.
He was the one who certified me to become a professional dance instructor. I do teach regularly. I call it my day job.
Hmm.
So, yes, I do teach regularly. Um, just at nursing homes and also at a senior center where I teach line dancing and I also put together performances. I am a choreographer. I put together holiday performances at this senior community center in Chinatown in Manhattan. And I do speak fluent Cantonese because I am half Chinese. So
Hmm.
I speak with my students there in Cantonese when I teach them. And I also teach at nursing homes where I teach more of dance therapy, like dance exercises. Anyone can dance, even people who are completely paralyzed. I've seen people who are paralyzed be able to move their head, nod it, move it from side to side, look up, look down. It's just
Mm.
incredible. Dancing is just amazing, It just not only does it touch the human spirit, it keeps the body active and it keeps the body moving and it keeps people physically young.
I definitely agree. Also helps this too.
And the mind. It slows down Alzheimer's. This has been proven. Studies have shown that dancing slows down Alzheimer's and dementia.
As a pharmacist, I 1,000% agree. Dancing does many things beyond the reducing the risk of Alzheimer's, dementia, and maybe even Parkinson's. It also helps with memory with reaction time, and it also improves the mood as well, since mental health is a big thing going on, especially since the pandemic.
Yes, definitely. It boosts those endorphins. And yeah, that's very important. And everyone could use that.
Exactly. So we talked a little bit about the skill, the range of the clients or students. So it's like a lot of nursing homes you go to, and what are the skill ranges? You see a lot of them, they come off already have experience, or maybe the other way. What do you see? What's the consensus?
Well, there are a very varied group of students that I have. You do have some people who have danced a lot through their whole life. I don't think I ever actually ran into a professional ballroom dancer before in one of the nursing homes or at the senior centers, but I've had people who like used to be a ballerina or modern dancers, so like those skills do translate over to like ballroom dancing or just exercise dancing,
Like
which
Zumba.
yeah, like Zumba, yeah, sort of like wheelchair Zumba and um,
Mm.
with dance therapy. I've had students say to me that, "Oh wow, you do exactly what my physical therapist does. However, this is a lot more fun." Because you put music to it and we sing along to the songs.
I feel the healing powers already.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So what's when as an instructor, were there things that you saw that was like maybe funny, maybe something that's oh wow, oh my goodness, something that touched you? What was your one of your special memorable moments?
Oh wow, I'm gonna tear up.
Oh no.
So yeah, so I used to teach at an assisted living facility, and this is going back a few years when the World War II generation, the greatest generation, were still in their 90s, like early 90s, late 80s. um, there was a gentleman who fought in World War II, who went to Normandy Beach and was there, and he said he was a wallflower his whole life. That everybody would be dancing to Benny Goodman and Glenn Miller or Friends, and he would just stay in the corner. And he said the first time he danced was when he met his wife. It was just at their wedding, and he just moved around a little bit just to get through the party. But yeah, he was never a dancer. But he said my dance instruction inspired him so much that he actually got up and danced in front of a huge crowd of hundreds of people in Washington, D.C. He was there for Veterans Day, and there was a singer there singing the old big band tunes, and the singer was trying to get one of the veterans in front of the whole crowd to come up to the stage and dance with her. And this gentleman, Lenny, was his name, jumped right up and started dancing with her on the stage in front of all those veterans. And that was because of me, my instruction, my inspiration, my class.
I felt it
I
in
was
my eyes.
so moved. Yeah,
Oh, it's a humbling experience, isn't it? It was
it is.
like,
It is.
wow.
I
It's
tear up every single time I tell this story.
thank you for what you do. It makes me love you even more.
Aw, thank you so much.
We need we need more of this in this this climate where climate, and I don't mean weather, but I'm talking about the social climate where there's so much this vitriol and all this division and all that. Why can't we find something we talk about that's good about us? Why can't we, share something, that can help each other? Why can't we just find something that could, you know, unite us? That
Yes,
would solve so many things.
it would. Yes, put something positive that can just bond everybody together.
Exactly. So that is a oh wow. I feel it. There's not. It's sometimes I stutter when I feel these things. I gotta tell you. And we're gonna segue into podcasting.
Yay!
So yes, and state of the arts. You've been posting episodes every single week, and I gotta tell you, I'm 36 years old. I feel as though there's an episode every single day, but like no, it's every single week. I was like, wow. And and I have to tell you, I want to thank you so much for doing this because you bring an important platform for those who don't have a platform. You bring out a lot of diversity that other people would have never heard of before. You bring out people just everyday people, something that an average person can relate to. And, again, I just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing. All right.
Oh,
And I hope you keep more success to you. All right. So
oh,
with that, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that immensely. It means a lot to me.
And thank you for having me as a guest too. It was a couple months, yeah, less than a couple months ago. That was before Anime NYC, which we'll talk about.
Mhm.
So, how did State of the Arts get started? How was the birth, so to speak?
Oh, so yeah, it's an interesting story. It was back in 2020. The pandemic was underway. We were all locked down, and the arts suffered tremendously because of this. Like a lot of artists were out of work. I mean, all across the board. You even saw major movie stars doing commercials because it was a very, very tough time for the arts. I mean, arts isn't a necessity. So when things go downhill, you need, yeah, you need doctors, you need lawyers, you need medical professionals, you need firefighters, you need police, but like artists go on the back burner if something major happens, and that's what happened during 2020. The We had the COVID epidemic, pandemic, and it was tough for artists. I wanted to give artists a voice, do a small part, do my part to help them market themselves during a tough time. And so that's why I started the podcast. Basically, I was kicking it around, I was procrastinating, and my husband Joe gave me the tough love that I needed and said, Look, you're going to start this or what? You've been talking about it for so long." And I'm like, you know what? You know, darn it, I'm going to start it. So that was it. I just went on Spotify and I started State of the Arts, and the first episode was awful because the
Well,
pilot. The
it
pilot.
is what it is. You got to start somewhere.
I didn't know anything about podcasting, so I just had to put something out there.
Growth
It
is
was a
growth.
it was a test episode. Yes, growth is growth.
Growth is growth. I thought I actually found out about this when I was in high school because I had a friend who failed the class and I passed, and I don't know how it came up in my mind, but I told my friend, how can you succeed if you can't fail?"
Exactly.
I don't know how that came out of my mind because I was always a straight A student. I graduated number 8 from high school. But somehow when I saw my friend struggling, I told her, "How can you succeed if you don't fail? Because when you fail, you see where you are. When you lose, it's not a loss, it's a lesson." And I learned that from the Knicks. Well, actually, wait, the Knicks are not in the playoffs. Anyway, I know the Yankees and the Mets are in the playoffs now, but I learned from the Knicks, if you lose, the game continues until you win, and then you rinse and repeat, and you do it again.
Definitely, the failure way to success. I forgot who said that, but that's a quote from somewhere.
So I will say, I was in that similar position too before starting a podcast, and the podcast is for fun. I'm actually not making any money for the time being. So it started out where I was, I'm a pharmacist, so and people saw my reviews for conventions. People saw my rail reports on for the subway and the commuter rails. And a couple of my friends asked me, "Why don't you do this on YouTube?" And it's like, huh? What are you talking about? What I post on YouTube are my presentations and just the fun stuff. And they said, "Oh, Dean, open a Twitch." And so I started Twitch in November 2021. All right. I did not know about Twitch prior to that. If I knew about Twitch before COVID, I would have given a COVID presentation on Twitch. But instead, I did it on Instagram Live. I had my laptop and I was using my phone like this and recording, using my iPhone to record the slides while I'm speaking. That was before Twitch, and I gave a COVID presentation in late March 2020.
Ah, I mean
I'll
that's
send you like
and that's a great time to do it. It was right at the start of it.
yeah, and So I did it right away simply because I was stressed out. I
Mhm.
was really stressed out. You know, now I love being a pharmacist, but what stressed me out is all this disinformation, misinformation. Remember, this 2020. You know, this is before things got ramped up, and so I heard all this. Oh, you shouldn't do this. You should, like, no, let me debunk the myths. And at the time, you know, we didn't know much. We just used based on previous information. So, and then when I started Twitch, I said, you know what? I'm gonna do the subways. I'm gonna do the con reviews and all that stuff. And I have to tell you, when you have a full-time job, oof, it's a tough one because there's always preparations here and there. And I have to tell you, for people like you to really be consistent, I have to give you a lot of credit for that. I'm not even consistent with my own podcast. You know, it's
Oh,
more of a monthly kind of thing. But I will return the favor and say I will platform you because, you know, I think you're one of the people who deserves to be known for because of all the work that you're doing to lift those everyday people, just everyday people who have different expressions of their arts. So you deserve it.
thank you so much. Well, my podcast just took on a momentum of its own. It's like it has its own life. And even though 2020 came and went and things got a lot better and we got the vaccinations and things are pretty much back to normal, I still have the podcast. That now is just about the arts rather than artists struggling during the pandemic. My focus is just celebrating the arts and artists. It's my podcast is here to stay. So,
Oh, it
you know,
is. Oh,
it's a job.
I'm gonna make it stay. That's right. I'm gonna if I see something that catches my mind, I'm definitely gonna share that. You know, I'm definitely going to promote that and say, hey, you know what? Take a look at this. You know, oh, let's. It's very important for people to open their minds because there's always gonna be something to learn. I'm learning new things now.
Yes, we're always learning everywhere we go, every day.
Exactly. And we'll get to the next part I want to ask is just like with the just being a dance instructor, you see all these unusual moments, of these wow moments, and your favorite moments. What are some of the moments that made you laugh? Some of the moments that inspired you uh, on those on the podcast. I know, very heavy question.
I think one of the most inspirational moments was actually recently. My husband and I did episode 200 in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in Manhattan, and that was incredible. We took a little tour of the museum, self-guided, and then we did the podcast right in the Greco-Roman area
Hmm.
among all these statues. That was a wow moment. I mean, if you've ever been to the Met Museum, you have artwork that's been around for thousands of years, and you're surrounded by it from every continent in the world except for Antarctica.
Who knows? It may be next. You never know.
Had some ice formations, maybe.
Or maybe that flag that they put in, oh, this is the South Pole. I'm the first person who went there. I think that's more of a science kind of thing, but that's I digress.
And as far as the funnier moments, I've had comedians on my podcast that had been cracking up through the whole episode. So it's hard to pinpoint one. There were a few of them. I've had stand-up comedians.
So it's
Um,
always a unique experience for every episode.
yes, definitely.
I gotta tell you, my episode when you interviewed me, that was a unique experience because I don't think you've ever met an autistic pharmacist.
Never. I've never had help.
And Bradley is autistic, but he's also a bracelet collector, and he talks and he's has his own arts thing. Josh has his own way of arts because he sews now, and he does Twitch streaming and he cosplays like I do. So he makes cosplay a little bit, does it more seriously since he's making his own now, which I'm really proud of him doing. I actually love his creations, and not just that I love it. I just love how unique it is. So it's just say, hey, you know what? It's me, all me, and you can't get more authentic than that.
No, you can't. And that's what I love. All of my guests, they're individuals. Each one brings something to the table that's new and exciting and different.
That's why your podcast is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love
And
it.
yeah, so we're gonna talk just a little bit about my episode. We're gonna actually talk about what happened here. So the background here, we actually were in a pizzeria restaurant. Well, it's like a Italian restaurant. Everything was going well, and then all of a sudden, audio was gone. Remember that one? That
Oh,
was
mhm.
that was like, wow, what happened here? So, and I think there was a change in something, some update.
Yes. The my host site, Anchor, had switched over to Riverside, and it kind of messed everything up.
Yeah, so I could imagine if what other podcasters had to go through. So I wanted to bring that up because it's important that these companies need to learn from their mistakes so it doesn't happen ever again. This
Mhm.
is, it. We're able to fix it on our end, but there are people where maybe they're not even able to. So I wanted to bring that up. So the next thing is, given that issue, what are some tips for those who want to get into podcasting? What what are things that they need to know, and what are things that they need to mistakes to avoid?
Well, I would start with a free website. You may want to upgrade later on, but when you're looking for a host site to support your podcast, go with a free plan. It might be a little bit of a hassle, editing might be a pain, but it's worth it. If you're not sure yet, where you're going with it, or if it's something you're just trying out, you don't want to dive in head first. You're dipping your toe in the water. So you want to slowly ease yourself into it and see if you like it, see it if it's going to pick up a momentum. I would suggest that first, and also have a format. Make sure you have guests lined up. It's tough scrambling around trying to look for guests the last minute. I try to get organized and have a few guest lineups. Sometimes I pre-record the episodes, record in bulk. You know, just bulk content, and that makes things more efficient and less stressful. And when you interview someone, make sure you have everything written out. You want to do research on them. If you're doing a solo episodes are tough. It took me a while to master solo episodes. You're basically interviewing yourself. So you don't want dead air. So make sure you have all the topics you want to discuss written out and pretend you're interviewing yourself. That's the best way to get a solo episode out.
I think I've done a solo episode, but a lot of times it has slides on it.
Oh, that's good. Because you
Cool.
have visuals. I'm talking from the standpoint of an audio
Oh,
podcast,
audio, yes, correct.
visual podcaster,
I
which
gotta tell you, when I started podcasting, it was on Twitch, and it was something like this. You see there on the second screen. It was never just an audio; it was always video, and I always have a guest, or I always share something. But in this case, for specifically Let's Meet on Twitch, there's always going to be at least one guest.
yes, I mean that makes sense.
And then all the other videos be something else. During COVID, I remember doing COVID updates every Friday because there was so much information to sort out, and then I would have all these tests, these PCR tests. I'll talk about the PCR test and the rapid antigen tests. It's on YouTube. It's right over here. If you see, it says Wild Goldine on top on the header on it, which is inspired by the subway. So
I'm sure it's still useful now.
it is. That's right. And the next thing is Anime NYC. Now, I didn't see you post an episode on anything convention related. So I know uh Anime NYC is like a big jump into an expansion of of your art coverage, so to speak. So, and also thank you for coming to my presentation.
Oh yeah, I loved it. That was great.
Yeah, so I wanna get your thoughts about that big jump that you made.
Well, if that was the first convention I've ever been to, um, I mean, I've been to other conventions, but not anime or comic or anything like that. And so it was a very new and unique experience. I found it very exciting. I loved the costumes, and the booths were just, I don't think I covered everything. I tried to wander around the whole convention and look at all the different booths. And there was just like so much going on. It was very, very exciting.
Well, they're still gonna be there waiting for you to be spotlighted, to be platformed. Don't worry. You go at your own pace. Okay. Oh, that's another advice part. You go at your own pace, and when it comes to the consistency one, when you do it in bulk, you can actually be more flexible with when you want to take a break. Even when you're taking a break, the content's still going. You just already have it prepared prior. So that just forgot to bring that up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what are your dream guests? Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Who's your dream guest? It could be a celebrity, it could be someone who has specific sets of skills.
I would love to have. A lot of people aren't familiar with this group. They're kind of a niche singing group. They're called the Capitol Steps.
The
Um,
capital steps.
mhm. Yes,
Ah.
they actually started out as interns in Washington D.C. back in the I think late 80s. Um,
Ah.
and they started,
Interesting.
yeah, they started writing parodies about the politicians in Washington
Ah.
D.C. And they actually ended up quitting their jobs as paid interns and
Oh no.
going full time as parody writers. And they got hired by a comedy club. They have their own comedy club now in Washington D.C. They put out records.
Oh
They
wow.
had celebrities go see them, and politicians like going to see them just to laugh at themselves.
Was
It's
it
just
capital? Sorry,
Capital Steps.
capital steps.
They are one they collectively they're my role models as a lyricist because I'm a writer. I write multiple things. One of the things I write are songs and
Hmm.
parody also lyrics. So
We're actually gonna get to it, actually.
I would love to even if I just had one capital step on my podcast, that
Oh
would be
wow.
a dream come true. It doesn't have to be the whole singing group. It could just be one of them.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, actually, you're gonna go to the second screen. This is We are live, so you can still unmute. It's just I had. Oh wow. So okay, so that's my first. This is my first. Actually, we'll get to this one, but explain more about Capital Steps. So they're like a comedy group, right?
Yes, they write parodies about politics. If you ever want to check them out, they have their own website. I know they took a break from performing during COVID, but I believe they're back.
I hope they're back because I'm actually looking at the pictures right now, but I'm just trying to put it on the screen actually. So I'm gonna see. Let's see.
I had the chance to see them live. Actually, that's how I discovered their existence.
Ah,
Was when
wow.
I was at this program for high schoolers. I was interested in politics at one point, and when I was in high school and
Is this them? Capital Steps?
Washington D.C. I am looking. I don't think we're sharing the same screen right now. I don't know what's going on over here.
All right, should be
Oh, there
so.
they are. Yes,
Yeah, that's
I see
that's
them.
a
Oh wow. Okay, it looks like they are back. We're
yeah.
singing
They're
again.
yeah. So this looks like I'm not going to say his name. He's running for president. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe this is. I don't even know who. This is looks like Bill Clinton. Maybe Obama over here.
Yes.
Uh, I believe. Who's the one who said alternate facts? Someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all right.
Because of the hat and all that stuff. Oh no,
Uh-huh.
yeah, or alternative truths. Oh, it's what's her? Kellyanne Conway. That's her name. I apologize for the technical issues. It's just I wanted to share that so people know who capital steps are. I actually never heard of capital steps. So,
It's
sorry for the
brilliant.
oopsies.
They are brilliant lyricists and performers.
All right. Any other dream guests?
Todrick Hall, another
Todrick Hall.
yes, another singer songwriter. Well, he's not a parody writer, but he is a singer songwriter. I just love his music. I love his stage presence. What a performer! Just his songs are just fun.
Never heard of him actually. Wow. I'm actually going through the images in real time actually.
I believe he's the winner of the Drag Race.
Oh wait, RuPaul?
That RuPaul hosts.
Have I actually have not watched.
I believe he won that. Just Todrick Hall's amazing performer, amazing songwriter. He has written a few serious songs too about serious topics,
So
but
this is
mostly.
Todrick. So this is Todrick Hall in the second screen.
Hmm. That's him.
All right. All right, so I'm learning something. See how it is? It's so dynamic. It's
Yeah.
All right. So and the next thing is what do you see, in the future, maybe 5, 10 years of state of the arts? Where do you think this podcast is going to go, and where do you think the art scene, the art community is going? Because there's AI going on now, and then there's also you know people doing other kinds of art, and now people are getting offended over things, and then now they're saying, "Oh, I'm offended. You should cancel this." It's a lot going on ever since 2020. So where do you think the direction's going to go?
I don't know. I'm not. I wish I knew how to look into the future, or maybe I don't want that skill. But it's hard to say. But what I think is going to happen, I think AI is getting more and more advanced. But at the end of the day, you can't substitute what humans can create. You know,
Exactly.
the
That's why we still have
organic
books.
artist, there's no parallel to that. I mean, that is why people still appreciate classical music, or people still like, Leonardo da Vinci's work, and all the great artists go centuries back, Shakespeare. People still like their work today. It's not like, okay, things have become so advanced that the new art is so much better than anything ever created. It's not like that. Great artists, their work is timeless. So I'm confident. Like, even though I do get intimidated by AI, I'm confident that art, organic art from
Mhm.
humans, will always be here.
Also, AI is not cannot live without humans anyway. What if you pull the plug or ran out of battery power? The Jetsons. I think there was a robot named Rosie. I think.
Rosie, yes.
Yes. So Rosie only works if the batteries are there. Rosie's not connected to a cord with an outlet. All right.
No,
So, but what if you ruin the batteries? I mean, there's probably at least one episode where Rosie wasn't functioning.
I think I remember that episode actually.
It's so long ago, back when I had cable, when I was watching Cartoon Network. Wow.
I used to love the Jetsons.
Yes. Oh yeah, I just remember. I think there was an episode where I think it was like a doctor. It was like some hospital for robots, and then there were these robots where the head got cut off and all that stuff. And then I think George Jetson was escorting Rosie for an appointment. I think that was the one I was referring to because something was wrong with her.
Yeah.
So
I think I remember that one.
yeah. So there is an article from from theweek.com rather, and the title is stunningly lifelike in single quotes. AI podcasts are here. Whoa.
I know, it's creepy.
Can you believe that? And I quote, users are amazed and creators unnerved by Google tool that generates human conversation from text in moments.
That's
What
disturbing.
everyone's becoming that's crazy. Go ahead.
I, oh, I don't know what to say. I was kind of listening to an AI group talking to each other the other day. It was interesting. It was they were debating religion, like multiple religions represented, and it just sounded so mechanical. It still didn't
Boring, I
sound.
think.
Yeah, it was.
Hello, Mr. AI. How are you? Is let's talk about the religion. All right. I'm pretty sure AI doesn't do that, but you can still feel that robot thing. That
Yes.
robot sound. If you know this guy named Vivek Ramaswamy, he sounds similar to that, but in a human form. So he used to run for president for the 2024 primary elections, and oh my goodness. But anyway, we're not going to talk about politics. That's just one thing. That's what kind of brought it up. It's like a human chat GPT.
He is.
So, and I quote from this article, the latest innovation in artificial intelligence has made podcasting easier. Really? That doesn't mean there are no setbacks here, but made differentiating between humans and artificial intelligence harder. A new text to voice feature of Google's AI powered software, and it's called Notebook LM, one word, can transform written words such as news articles or blog posts into artificially generated conversation between two AI hosts, which you brought up a little bit.
Mhm.
Seems creepy, doesn't it?
It does. It's disturbing. I
And
don't know this stuff.
one person calls it, and I quote, "This is the devil work, the devil's work." Whoa. Robots taking over the world. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And as I said, it could take one thing where you can disable the batteries and all that.
Can I be the one to pull the battery out?
Yes. Oh boy, yeah. So, or anything where if it gets run over by a truck, oh wait, that truck could be run by AI too. That's not even perfected either.
Look, maybe I'm biased, but I had my issues with AI pretty recently.
I think we'll talk a little bit about that. So anyway, so I want before actually we're gonna continue with AI. So you're also a song, lyric, and script writer,
I am. Hmm.
and oh boy, what do you think about AI getting into that? It's like, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. Well, I tell you, I felt jealousy over it, intimidated. I just, yeah, I was turning green when I just heard some of an AI's writings. It's very disturbing. But yeah, recently, so my husband's a music composer, and he was doing this challenge to create um, a template of his ideal filmmaker client, and he could create several of them, just like a hypothetical, you know, client that he would
Hmm.
want to work with, a filmmaker. So
Correct.
yeah, and he described what he was looking for to AI, and AI generated this long description and even a picture of a British filmmaker who had a huge backstory and a whole resume, personal life, all written out. And I look like that emoji where the brain's coming out, where the mind is blown. And
Wow.
I was seething with jealousy towards AI at this point.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so
Rules and regulations coming up. I don't know if they're gonna keep up with that. Because now the recent thing I got with for AI is that anything that AI creates, it's not copyrighted. It's copyrighted by an actual human being. So that's the only victory we have as humans. So anything that AI makes, it's not considered copyright because it's like making it from a 3D printer, so to speak, or just you're just making it's just even though it's artwork, it's not made by a human being. So it's not like you can copyright, you can protect it, that kind of thing. It's not like it's made by actual human being.
Mhm.
So all right. So there was a writing challenge that you did. It was you versus AI. So I want you
Well,
to talk about that.
okay, well, like going back to the story I was telling, it's actually connected to that. So,
Mm.
I said to my husband, "All right, I want to, so I want to challenge that AI to a writing challenge. I am going to create a hypothetical filmmaker also." So I sat down with my laptop and I had written out a whole storyline for a filmmaker originally from Seattle, Washington. And his name is Bryce. Travin Bryce. That's right. That's the name I came up with. Travin Bryce. He's a young filmmaker, only in his 30s. He dropped out of college because his YouTube channel was doing so well. He does crime comedies. He moved to LA because he signed a contract with Hulu, and he met a girlfriend there who he has a son with. He loves to travel. He loves snowboarding, and and Joe, my husband, read it and said, "Wow, that's that was good." And yeah, I felt like I went head to head with AI, and we came in a flat-footed tie.
Again, I'm not saying AI is bad. I'm saying that it's how you use the weapon. All right, because AI could also be used for good as well as as a way to be efficient, but it shouldn't be used as a way to replace all kinds of human authenticity because human authenticity is what gives it the flavor, gives it the emotion. AI doesn't have that emotion, and even if AI has emotion, it's all smoke and mirrors, in my opinion.
It is, yeah.
Okay, real emotion comes from real humans.
That's
So it's very that I just wanted to bring up that point. All right,
Well, even
and
centuries from now, you're going to be able to tell what's from a computer and what's from a human.
so 25 years ago, 1999, you went into a competition in Shea. I think it was in Shea Stadium at the time,
It was
and
shed.
it was it was something called Mets Amazing Fan Search.
Actually, I saw it on television and I entered it from home.
Oh, nice. How did it go?
Well, I had written some parodies about the Mets because I'm a huge Mets fan, and my dad and I would watch the games together. So I had written some parodies about them. One of them was to the song "Under the Sea" by Disney, the Little Mermaid song. I changed it to "You Gotta Believe," which is one of the Mets catchphrases. One of their slogans is "You gotta believe." So it's "You gotta believe, you gotta believe," and I had also written a song about the Subway series to the tune of "That's Amore" by Dean Martin. I changed it to "That's Joe Torre." And I had performed these on to my dad videotaped it with a camcorder, and I had sent the videotape over as my Mets Amazing Fan Search presentation. Everyone was allowed to send whatever they wanted to prove that they were the greatest Met fan in New York. And I had come in second place. I was beat out by a elderly lady who had been going to games since Shea Stadium was built, and she painted her nails the Met colors. It's hard to compete with that because when the Mets came to be, I wasn't born yet. So and she was there.
She was on
And
steroids. Well, not the injectable ones. We're talking about the traits. You know, the age were her steroids in a way because she saw it from the very even before they were made. So in
yes,
a way, second place, that's as close as you can get, right?
yeah.
You should
Second
be
place,
proud of that.
yeah. That the prize was two box seat tickets, and I took my dad, and we went to sit in the box seat and watch a game for free. That the lady though, that elderly lady, she got to star in a commercial, a Mets commercial. That would have been really cool.
I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but I remember 1999. I remember 2000. I remember 24 years ago. That was the last time we had a World Series and Subway Series put together.
Yeah.
Remember that one? I was in middle school and we were there. It's either you were wearing Yankees or Mets, and I was a Yankee fan at the time, and my sister loves Derek Jeter. So, but there, the Mets. One of my teachers was a Mets fan, and she would say, "Who let the Mets out? Who let the Mets out?"
2000 crazy times. I remember that.
It feels like a couple years ago, but it's not a couple years ago. It's I still remember when the trains were covered in Mets and Yankees banners. I remember those Redbirds, the red trains, and I remember the new trains that came out at the time for the Ford train. It was all covered in this Yankee wrap and pinstripes. That was a great time, and that was before when things started going. But yeah, 2000 was a great year for New York sports fans. If you're a baseball fan, so yeah. So that's a fun memento.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're gonna get to the indie films. Before we show the two clips, how did you get into the indie film scene?
Um, well, my husband inspired me. He's a music composer, and he's been composing for indie films. And since I'm a writer, it's kind of hard not to jump on board. So, yes,
Together,
yeah.
joining forces.
We call ourselves Jolie because my name's Lee and his name's Joe. So together we're Team Jolie. Team Jolie.
And jolly, just a different kind. Jollies and happy. Put it together. Wow.
So,
So,
yeah, Jolie. Well, Jolie means pretty in French.
yes. Oh, jolie. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So yeah, so I was inspired by him to start writing some scripts for indie films, and we joined this filmmakers group. It's so supportive. It's called NYC Shortcuts. So
NYC shortcuts.
if you're an aspiring filmmaker in the New York City area, I encourage you to join NYC Shortcuts. Everyone's so helpful, so inspirational. Everyone works together. People lend each other equipment. People star in each other's films. Everyone just works as a team to grow together as filmmakers.
Okay, so it's shortcuts NYC or just NYC shortcuts.
Oh, Shortcuts NYC.
All right. So I'm actually looking through the website here. They have their Instagram there. So I'm just gonna put in the comments shortcutsnyc.com. So it'll be on the comments. It's going to be on the second screen, just so if people are interested. There it is, shortcutsnyc.com. All right.
I just call them shortcuts. That's why
Yeah.
sometimes I get their name
Yeah,
confused.
shortcuts is fine.
throw in the NYC.
We have to
Yeah.
differentiate. You have to differentiate them from the cold cuts. There's cold cuts NYC. That's in your bodegas. I'm just kidding. I wanted to bring up there because cold cuts, short cuts sound. I wanted
Sounds
to differentiate. Yeah.
similar.
you
Yeah, me too.
you gotta put a little bit of just a little giggle in there. You
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, there's shortcuts NYC. I know it's a little cut off, but
Sure. Mhm.
yeah, we're gonna go to our first clip, and this is Joe Grotto, by the way,
That's
on
my
this.
baby.
Yeah, that's your husband, and he's the one I think who did the videos and did the composing of the music for the clips we're going to watch.
Yes.
So I'm very interested, very interesting. I'm very interested in it. And before we go over the amulet, like give a little background of the amulets
The
before I play
amulet.
it. Hmm.
I wanted to enter something into the film challenge, and the amulet I kind of just threw together on the fly and did all.
Ah.
Yeah, I started it myself. I had written the script myself. I did the camera work all by myself, and it. So every film challenge has two rules, and those rules are very random. You never know what they're going to be until they announce the challenge. And you get like 3 weeks to do the challenge usually. Sometimes you get a little
Mm,
longer. And so the challenge rules was it had to be a fantasy film,
hmm.
and the other rule was low angle.
Oh wow. I didn't
Yeah.
see too much of it. I only saw just a few seconds just to test, but this is going to be like a blind for me. So this is going to be a little interesting here. So in this case, for any comments, just comment after the clip. But it's time to unmute the second screen. So here it is, the amulet. Just mute the first device.
My father was the chief scribe of the kingdom of the earth. The moment I was born, he christened me with the name Lisette. I am the maiden of the coral reef. My mother's family reigns in the water kingdom. I am both land and sea. My true love is the harp master. The harp master is from the kingdom of fire. There is no peace in either of our homes. Many of the subjects of both our kingdoms bow down to the mighty Emperor of the Air. He is the Lord of Chaos. He has the sun itself at the top of his head. The harp master and I were prisoners in our lands for many, many centuries. Out of desperation, I journeyed to the lightning cave in search of answers. I had hoped to find the solution to our merciless existence. After months of trekking through the chasm of infinity, I entered the glacier realm. There was a secret to be learned, a secret that sets all captives of their birth kingdoms free. I was to learn this secret in the furthest reaches of the glacier. For in its crisp tranquility stands the great wise sage. He instructed me to return to the kingdom of the earth to find the amulet of severance. Now my love and I had the power. We were finally free.
Wow. Okay, I just unmute. You can mute the second screen. Wow. That is you're able to hear me, right?
Yes.
Wow. How was the thing go? It was good?
Yes.
All right, everything was smooth. Okay.
Yeah.
But wow. That was very calming. I got to tell you that.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me share the whole video actually.
Oh yeah, of course. It's mhm.
Yes. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They put a time limit on just because they rent the space.
Hmm.
Shortcuts puts a time limit on how long the films can be. They
Hmm.
want to be able to try to show everyone's film,
I
so
see.
everyone has to stay within the time limit.
So that's like a little trailer, isn't it?
No, that was the film
Oh, that
because
was the
they
film. Wow.
because of the time limit.
Yeah.
We can't exceed 5 minutes. I
Hmm.
mean,
Understood.
you can, but there's a good chance your film won't be shown because they prioritize people who stayed under the time limit.
I gotta tell you, there's this balcony that you went. It's like the rocks one.
Yeah.
That's that's at the I forgot the name of the park. I went there a few times.
Oh, you did? Tibbetts Park? Not
Yes,
Tibbetts. Turner Park.
Turner
Turner.
Park. Yes, I
Yeah,
remember now because that's where they had the Cherry Blossom Festival
yeah, yeah.
every year.
Uh-huh.
Josh and I and a few of our friends went there for a private cosplay meet, and we did pictures there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that park. It was a great place to film.
Yes. So, I actually enjoyed it. I didn't see too much of it, but now I saw the whole thing. Whoa. So, the next clip I want to actually wait, before we get to the next clip. So, what do you think? I know you're the star in it, but how was the amulet?
It was some of it was a little challenging to make, but it was fun and it was very relaxing, especially working all by myself. Because when you work with other people, it can get more stressful. I mean, it was a little stressful because I wanted to get everything done right, but it, on the other hand, it wasn't stressful because I just answered to myself. I was the crew, I was the actor, I was, director of photography. And I had to really stretch my imagination in some portions of the film. Like when I created the glacier realm, what I did was I took a Tupperware container, filled it with water, and put it in the freezer for a few hours. So that was the glacier realm. I did a close up of that.
Yes. That's very interesting. Art is infinite. I'll tell you that. I
Yes.
got mesmerized by the bubbles. I was like, you saw me look like a statue. It's like, Oh boy. So I'm happy that you enjoyed it. I know we talked about a little bit of art, when I did the TikToks and all that. We discussed that, when you actually do the actual art form live rather than the practice, you do the real deal. Sometimes you don't your mind just drifts away and then the art just takes you instead. And then once everything's finished, it's like, oh, everything went looked like it went well for the most part, but when you're actually doing it in the moment, it didn't feel like it because you just a part of you just separated away from you. At least when I do something art related.
I know. Well, you don't realize what it all entails until you go through the process, and then once the finished product is there, it's wonderful, and all that hard work paid off, and it makes sense at the end.
Oh, yes. So, all right, we're going to get to the next clip. And this is what we call a film noir. Noir. I speak a little bit of French, but it's called City of Film Noir. Noir is the genre, and it's called City of the Night. All right. So, before we play, give a little background of City of the Night.
And City of the Night was a script that I had written for one of the shortcut challenges. And the problem was the script was so long, it was going to go well over 5 minutes. And I didn't want to take the risk of it not getting shown. So I decided to turn it into a trilogy. So I chopped it up. And what we're going to see now is the first part of the trilogy. So
All right.
it's the first film in 3 films. Um,
Ooh.
the
I'm
second film has been.
salivating. Even though it's the first part. Can't wait for the other two. It's okay.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. And I found out I'm able to mute you. So I'm able to mute you when I play the clip because when I play the clip and you're unmuted, it was playing in sync actually. But let's watch. Here we go. Um, okay.
The name's Joe Russell. I'm a private investigator. This pretty little brunette came to my office this morning in tears asking me for help. I didn't like the looks of this case, but I liked the looks of that dame. There may have been a murder right on the city of Dalton. The city I called home. The whole situation's been on my mind all day. I had some thinking to do.
All right. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Suspenseful. This is my first time watching this. I only saw just the first second just so I can test the softwares, but I gotta tell you, it's like Dick Tracy. I don't know if anyone remembers Dick Tracy.
Yeah, that was the vibe I was going for. I love film noirs. I'm a film noir junkie. I love watching them, and it's so exciting to actually write one.
This is my first film noir, actually. It's my first live. Very interesting. And also that park, that's in Chinatown, right?
No, that's Union Square.
Oh, that's Union Square. It looked like it was actually now I can see because that I'm gonna see if I can get a clip of if I can scroll through it, but there is it almost looked like it was oh sorry, it was Chinatown. Let's see. Uh Here. So in the background, behind the statue, it there's like some kind of a building. It's like a shed that looks almost like it's in Chinatown. There's actually a statue in Chinatown. But I can
Oh,
see why it's in Union Square because
yeah.
there are taller buildings there than in Chinatown.
That's Abraham Lincoln.
Oh wow. I didn't even catch that. Wow. So that's the first trilogy. So like,
The
we
first
basically
part. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean the first not first part of the trilogy.
Hmm.
So now I get to share. I'm very happy and thank you again for allowing me to share a couple of the clips with the audience.
Yes, sure. It's my pleasure. I love sharing my art.
So and so that I learned a lot already. So anyway, and also we're actually going to come to a little bit of a close actually. So thank you so much for for coming. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to get to the socials. Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, where can we find you?
Well, I am on Instagram, Hybrid Arts 200. I actually recently changed the name to Hybrid Arts from Hybrid Dance because I encompass more than just dancing. So many art forms that I celebrate. And I am also on TikTok under Lee Dancera. You can find me on Facebook, also Lee Grado. Yeah, that's it. Those are my socials.
And we're going to see you on State of the Arts podcast. You actually I don't know if you released an episode. There was an episode where it showed where it celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's up. It was in your studio, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I have two episodes since Hispanic Heritage Month is celebrated in 2 months, September and October. I
Oh
had this,
wow.
yeah, September special already released last week. October specials coming up, and I had interviewed a director of theater productions for the September, who's a Mexican American, and I have illustrator and painter who's Guatemalan American who I interviewed for the one coming up.
That's a real treat, I got to tell you. And just for you talking about the heritages, I learned that you know what your podcast has a lot of can go to multiple avenues at the same time. Actually, it's not just with the arts in general, but also it could take it to many different themes, which
Yeah.
I actually did not know. I saw there was a Father's Day thing. You did a
Uh-huh.
Mother's Day thing where you talked about your mom, and then there's me, there's Bradley, and then there was Lunar New Year special. I think you did.
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
So that's really great. And where can we see you? Any future events you're going to be attending?
Well, I am actually organizing a huge event, and you will be invited. I would like
Oh,
to get,
thank you.
yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed in 2025, the early in the year, maybe January, maybe February. I would like to get everyone who has been on State of the Arts together to network with each other and have some snacks and beverages and just hang out and get to know each other. And I found a location. I'll probably be doing it at a theater. The owner of
Mm,
the theater is very open to things like this, and she has been on my podcast. So, um,
that is so you. Staying in your roots. I love that. I think there should be more. There should be more theater related stuff. Broadway's shouldn't just be the only one, of course. We got to get the other creators too. bring them into the spotlight, and that's what you're doing. So I'm trying to bring you to my spotlight too, to expand and all that stuff.
Mhm. And you could also catch me at the shortcut gatherings. I try to attend as many as I can. I've been on a little bit of a hiatus the past few weeks, but I'm going back to the next one, which is coming up really soon.
Do they have a
Close to
date for
Halloween.
it?
Yes, it's actually a few days before Halloween, and the theme is horror movies.
Oh, wow, yes.
I'm planning to make one. Hopefully, I can pull it off.
I'm actually going through the website and see what they have. I don't even see their events. So, but they're
Uh,
on Instagram. So
and
their
join,
Instagram is Shortcuts NY.
and join Discord. Then you'll get to know exactly what's going on. They have a group on
Yep.
Discord. They're always, yeah,
I'm
posting
just
their
gonna put in the
events.
comments. So I just posted on the comments on Instagram Shortcuts NY. So that's where you'll see Lee and get to meet her, and maybe who knows, could be the guest on her podcast.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
I'm always welcoming new guests from all walks of life. I would love
Oh
to have
yes.
if you're in the arts.
Yes, I'm also if I see someone who has this art, I actually have a friend who makes soap and actually makes anime related and soap. So they'll make a character or some kind of an object and make it in a soap form, like a
Wow,
like a pokeball.
that's really cool.
So who knows? We'll see. But she's a busy person. She goes to so many conventions. That's her livelihood. She in addition to her day job, she actually goes into conventions and sells these things,
Wow, that's so cool.
such as bath bombs too. Bath bombs, those yeah, they have a heart. That's a bath bomb.
I'd like a Pokemon soap.
Yeah, I'll send it over. Okay, so who knows? I may interview her as well. We'll see.
That'd be
But
great.
other than that, thank you again for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you for being my guest.
This was so much fun. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
And I learned a lot actually.
I did too, especially the technology stuff.
Oh yeah, so before we go, I just want to say that Twitch is a software. It's like YouTube where you can do live stream, but most people do gaming on Twitch. Well, in my Twitch account, I prefer to do something different. I find Twitch to be a little bit more flexible as well. There are perks though if you get enough viewers, if you do enough videos, enough stream hours of streaming, and enough followers, you can get that affiliate level, and then you start to get income coming in. But if you go even further, there's something called partnership where you get even more money. So a lot of people who are already popular, they'll start having Twitch as an income stream and all that. So a lot of people will do that. But here, it's more about the fun.
Yes, it is a
So
lot.
it is a lot of fun. Thank you again, and I hope to see you
Of,
soon.
I hope to see you soon too.
Bye bye. And before we go, stay tuned for the next episode. I don't have a date yet, but I have some people coming in. So I once everything is clear, it will be on Instagram, and my socials are up there with the arrow. Instagram, YouTube, it's Twitter. I don't call it X. I'm on TikTok, same thing. Wild Goldine, Twitch, Facebook, Discord, all of that in there. And everyone have a great day. And one more thing. I just want there's one quote, all right? And this is the quote I said earlier. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. The game continues until you win. And once you win, you're gonna do it again, right?
Yes,
Yes. All right.
you learn
All
every
right.
time.
Yes, you learn every time. See ya. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.